What's up, fellow Whovians? Paparazzo Dave Chapman here. Just to do the intro, someone else is going to be doing the hosting. Still not Christian, but we've got a great team here today. We're going to be doing a review of The Church on Ruby Road. We did a live show on it. We did a little mini review of it. And now we've got the rest of the team who have not had a chance to weigh in to do that. So why don't we take a look at who we've got here, starting with the one and only from Cosmic Mask Magazine, Mr. Nick Smith. How you doing today, Nick?
I'm doing good after a wild and crazy move from Tennessee up to New York. So I'm in upstate New York tonight, and it's very dark here.
Dark. Yeah. It's 4 o'clock, which means here 6 o'clock for you. So that means it's midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Winter.
Mm-hmm.
How dark is it in New Jersey, Kevo?
Let me look out the window. Pretty darn dark.
Pretty darn dark.
Yeah.
How are things otherwise? What are you up to?
Cold. It's cold. Our house is falling apart. It's been a crazy month. And on top of that, we did a record 14 broadcasts in December. I'm exhausted, but I'm having fun. So I guess that's all that really matters.
I think so. And what about you, Mackenzie? You've been pretty busy yourself on your stream, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been kicking it off with Lethal Company. We've been doing some duos and trios, and people in my chat said, Mackenzie, you can main this game. I go, well, I've been taught by What If Julia. I can do it. So we're going to start doing that alongside Liza P. So yeah, I've been really busy, and luckily or unfortunate or unlucky, however you want to put it, I got COVID for the very first time on Christmas Day. Wah, wah, wah.
Merry Christmas!
Yeah.
First, wow.
Yeah. I'm shocked actually because my spouse works in the medical field has been on the front line the entire time. So I'm actually shocked that this is our first time.
Fair.
Yeah. It went all through her department. So yeah, lucky for us. But we said this is last time. Never again. We're not getting one again. Nope.
So before we bring in tonight's host, Nick, question for you. What was the second dice on your version of Yahtzee again? No one seems to remember for some reason.
It was the silence.
It's the silence, right?
Ooh.
All right. So, right.
Auto tracking.
The auto tracking is doing its thing. Will it let me zoom out again? Oh, whatever. I'll do it in a minute. I'll fix it after Melanie talks. Hi, Melanie.
Not until we get that intense nostril zoom in.
Yeah, it's neat. I can do things.
I wish my camera could do that. I would love to zoom in. I want my camera to be able to do that, but it doesn't.
Do the heart thing.
It's do the heart thing. Everyone do the heart thing because it should work for everybody, not just me.
Not doing nothing.
Oh, really? No.
Nah,
it's working on him.
No.
My heart is terrible.
But yeah, see, it this on Dave's when he did see it.
Yeah.
Dave's got it.
Dave's
That's
got it.
technology right there.
Fancy.
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Fancy lad. But yeah, unfortunately, I did not get that. I didn't hit the top prize of COVID on Christmas. I just caught the flu at the very tail end.
Yeah.
That just 3 days after that, it was just nothing but wake up every 4 hours, Tamiflu, night, Tamiflu, night.
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
I'm sorry if I blew everybody out. I just realized that my microphone was turned up way loud because of some other recording I was doing.
No, you're good.
Excellent. But
Yeah.
yes.
And I'm still just amazed. How many shows, Kevo? 13, 14?
14.
Incredible.
14. That's insanity.
He sounds like my friend Jordan. He's on day 11 of a Fearathon. And it's like for him, that's usually like 15-hour streams, except for yesterday. Yeah.
And
then we're going. Go ahead.
Oh no, go say what you should say, and then I'll.
No, and then we're going into one of our busiest subjects of the year because RuPaul's Drag Race comes back this Friday, and it's one of our more popular topics. So there's going to be a lot to say about that. And then by the time that ends, we'll be into the new season of Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's right. We're at spring 2024.
Yes,
no, it's gonna
May, from what I'm hearing.
Oh, it's not gonna be May. Oh, I like how they just say spring, and I'm like, why these blanket statements?
Yeah.
Hey, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Hey,
But yeah,
Mark.
as Dave had mentioned, it's a new Doctor. It's new Doctor Who. We've got a we've got a new home for it. We've got a new Who. We've got a new Doctor. We've got a new companion. So let's have as many reviews as we want, because everybody that's a part of this show wants to talk about this episode. So why not? It's like we're gonna have many different opinions, and we're gonna have many different awesome insights. So let's have another one. Why the heck not?
Exactly.
Right. And oh my, okay, so I guess we could start, just kind of kick it off and start rating it now. And then I'll kind of bring up little aesthetic pieces to kind of as we keep going along, because I think we really have a lot more fun when we have more conversations about stuff.
Mhm.
So rating time. Let's go. Well, we're gonna start with Nick, and then we'll go around. Ha ha ha! I got you first. I got everyone's like,
Oh man, I wanted to hear what other people thought.
I mean, I'll go first. I'll.
No,
Do
no,
you want me to start?
it's all good. I don't want to be too mean, and I don't want to be too nice.
That's
So
fine.
let me give it
It's
an
Christmas.
8
It's Christmas.
because it's Christmas. It gets
Because
an 8.
it's Christmas. Nick's going with an 8. Kevo, what number would you like to rate this at?
It's tough. I want to say a positive 7, I guess.
That's
Maybe
still
7.5. Yeah.
okay. That's these are still good ratings. I
Mhm.
mean, a 5 is the middle of the ground. To me, a 5 is a C. A 5 is the middle. A 5 is it's a decent episode. Maybe not the greatest, not the worst. It's right there. So 7.5. Still amazing.
I like to say true scaling, not American academic scaling.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Really?
Mackenzie, what number would you like to give this?
I'll be honest, I had a real hard time even finding anything wrong with this episode. I'm going to go match more with Nick here. I'm going to go an 8.5 only because, again, Christmas.
Christmas. No, and that's the funny thing is, at first, when I was literally, because I just finished watching it, as I'm running down the hallway, I'm thinking, I want to give this an 8. But then I'm like, maybe I can give it an 18.5 as I more think of it. And I'm like, you know what? I tend to watch it the first time. I'll give you this is my first time watching number. And then if I watch it again, it tends to go up. So myself wiggle room. I'm the same way with Nick. I'm going with an 8. So what about you, Dave?
I think I gave it, if I remember right, a 9.7.
A 9.7?
Yep.
We're not even doing like halvesies. We're doing like fractional.
No, I think I bumped it all the way up to 9.7 on that.
Well, those are fractions.
If I remember right, I could be remembering wrong, but because I've always kind of waffled between that 9.5, but not a 10.
That does sound right.
This is like a figure skating kind of deal. Okay,
Yeah.
9.7 it is.
Yeah,
I
Mark
like that,
gave it
'cause I never
a.
give anything a perfect 10, so I love that.
Tom thinks that's a weird number, but I'm a weird guy.
No.
And
No, I
Mark
think it's
gave it a 6 or 7 if he remembers right. You know, all of y'all can go over to the website or to the YouTube channel and just look at our last couple of reviews, because I've done 3 of them now. Technically, I've done 4 of them now.
But your numbers can change too. You know, you can be
Yeah.
on the too high after seeing an episode, and then you think about it. It might go down. It might go up.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can. I mean, the last one that I did for a review, I think I gave it like a 4 or 5 or something like that. So yeah, I was like, I could do that too.
Yeah, because I tend to rewatch and then I'll go up. Is my tendency. I think there's only been a handful of times where I've gone lower. Like if I even with a like an Orphan 55, which I was not a big fan of that one. Going back, I started seeing nuances that I really liked. And then I saw other things that I kind of told myself, well, I'm already kind of used to this thing that I didn't like. So, but even then I'm like, and I end up rating again higher. Even if it's like a little, like a 0.5 or something, I'll find that nuance to go, ooh, I didn't catch that. And that's much better. So something, most times I'll go up, maybe not like by Benny.
Benny! Throw her out of the vehicle. Throw her to the beasts. Save us all.
A grieving woman looking for her husband. And now that I was okay
that poor
with that,
actor.
right, then I'm like, all right,
Because you mean sweet and quiet.
I know, but sometimes people just they
like all women.
And I was good with it the second time. First time I was just like, lady, please. Anywho, since we're going to go low to high,
Different
the
thing.
lowest rating technically was Kevo at 7.5. So hopefully we can, when he comes back into the,
I'm up.
get your little stretch on. I would say,
I didn't want to go
Kevo,
first.
would you like to lead us
Happy.
into what was good? What did you love? What were you like, could have been better? But why did you go with a 7.5 non-American academic scale?
Mm.
You know, honestly, part of it is just fear of being too positive about anything and being smacked down anymore. I'm trying to like be extra critical, aware of like how much critics are already ready to pounce, and
Okay.
you know, draw my own sharp conclusions from that.
Okay.
You know, there was a lot of really good and interesting stuff. It didn't quite feel excessively Christmassy to me. You know, there were obviously a ton of Christmas trappings. I don't know why the Doctor can't ever wear like a red outfit though for Christmas. We know Ncuti's gonna have a whole bunch of different outfits, so it would have been cute to maybe see him in something a little bit more festive.
Mhm.
I didn't enjoy the Goblin song. The music was really good. The music was sick. Hey, what's up, Murray? But the lyrics really, really, really slowed it down for me. I found
Mhm.
them to be kind of gibberish. And there could even have been like an intent there because the characters themselves are more concept than reality. So I think maybe that could have been part of it, but it just ended up like making the song slow down for me until the Doctor and Ruby started singing. Their part was cute. They were fine. Their chemistry is great. I really like the two of them together so far. But I don't know. It felt a bit thin for this Christmas special and for a first episode. I'm excited to see more. I'm excited to see what comes next. I'm excited for us to talk about certain elements from the end of the episode because there's a lot of conversation about certain characters, and there's definitely information about that character that keeps being disregarded. So I want to make sure that it's at the front of our conversation. I don't want to
Okay.
jump anyone else's gun though. But yeah, you know, I feel like it is already in many ways the best and worst of the Russell T Davies era. But I'm excited to see him really spread his wings and do things that he didn't really feel like he was able to do in 2005. You know, I think he was afraid to be extra queer, and I think he was afraid to be extra experimental because if he didn't build this foundation right, people wouldn't have been drawn to the show. And so he was trying to build something really stable and appeal to a lot of different audiences. And I think now he's going to let himself be a little bit weird. So, for better or for worse, it'll certainly be interesting.
No, that makes sense. Now, especially with him, seeing him with his body of work after, even before when he did Casanova, and that he could go a little bit more avant and a little bit more out there, but he wasn't necessarily, that was ITV, I think, that wasn't BBC. So I could see your point where he needed to be very cautious and just, he can have fun, but the parameters were a little bit, he could push the envelope, but he needed to stay here. But now you're right, he can, one, it's Doctor Who's already been long-standing, it's already proven its point. He doesn't have to make this huge grand, oh, we're back, and having, don't tip over the house of cards before you've even built the bottom foundation. But I have to agree with you on the musical part, where I wasn't a big fan of it at first, but I liked it when Ncuti and like, at least lyrically, when Ncuti and Millie started singing. So, and then I think for me, I had to kind of think, oh, this is like Labyrinth. Because my husband at that point, that's the only thing he did not like about this episode. He's not a musical person. Absolutely not. Just done. I'm like, it's like Labyrinth. And he's like, but that's him going okay with it. So next up is Nick with an 8, and then I'll go. I just kind of did mine. So Nick,
yeah, you can hear more from you. But first, I have to say, I thought it was delightful. It's wonderful to have a Christmas special again after a long time, and I think The new characters are great too. I love the leads. Nothing wrong with them at all. So lots of things to enjoy, and the production values were great. The comedy worked. I like all the supporting characters that we met too. So fun and games was good. I agree with a lot of what we've heard already. The story was shallow and there wasn't that much going on. At first, I really appreciated that. I thought, oh, we've got character building. We're going to focus on the characters rather than lots going on. But there really, there needed to be more meat behind it, more story, and more of an original story to kind of help us get to know these characters. Doctor Who has it's done homages to movies before, but they've been different enough from the movies to make them work. Brain of Morbius is an example where we know Frankenstein, and this is something a bit different, a bit more sci-fi. So I wish that using Labyrinth, RTD had gone a bit further and tried different things. The song, I don't think, was strong enough to hook the whole show around. The song was okay. I couldn't understand what the goblins were gobbling about. But it just wasn't a good enough song to work half of the story around. And I did like it when our heroes started singing too, but then they're singing about their plan to escape. Why don't the goblins pick up on that? It was all kind of little contrived there. But yeah, I mean, they made it Christmas without kind of shoehorning in the festive Christmas things. We've seen some New Year's Eve, kind of almost questionable Eve type stories. So it's good. It felt nice and natural. We had the lovely leads. We had a couple of mystery characters we want to know more about. They just set a bunch of stuff up, which is great. I did kind of the whole It's a Wonderful Life piece where Ruby disappears. It was a bit Sarah Jane Adventures for me. If they were going to do that, then do it properly. Don't just throw in, oh, I don't remember. I mean, you would think Ruby's mom would wonder who the doctor is and why he's just wandering around her flat.
It was very fast.
Yeah.
That was a bit rushed.
I felt a little abrupt because I got confused at that point until I started looking at the refrigerator and realizing a lot of the photos were gone.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
the pacing,
the lighting
was
also changed.
Yes.
Like,
yes, Kevin, the pacing didn't feel right.
Yeah, so the song, the pacing, and just the song again. And just, we wanted a bit more story, well told, rather than kind of a few stories thrown in. The other thing I wanted to mention is the doctor uses his gloves to save the day. I'd much rather see him use his brain, his wits, his intellect. I love the bits with the ropes where he's figuring out the ropes. But yeah, I mean, it's early days. I'm very excited to see what Ncuti does next and what we see next. And I think this is a really good starting point. But compared to other new Doctor stories and specials, this is not the best.
Okay.
I would like to challenge, is creating the gloves not using his intellect in the first place in many ways?
That's
I think Russell and Stephen Moffat were really obsessed with gadgets. That's why the Doctor has one in the 50th for the 10th Doctor for his singular appearance, because Russell loved gadgets. So I do agree that it was very flimsy, though. It goes in both directions. But I like that they needed to charge. Normally, stuff like that is limitlessly powerless. And he did at least try to put a kind of cap on it.
Yeah, I'll go with that. That's very positive, Capo. I appreciate that.
And I like how you did the callback there about the 50th, and to another one was the machine that goes ding for the the Sally Sparrow one, because he said that, it made a ping sound, so therefore I know that you have a diamond. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then I like that little callback. I thought that was kind of sweet. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And to me, he felt and since this happened like towards the very beginning, he felt very doctory, because the Doctor was able to talk his way out of the constable having to need his name and, I need to report this, because you could see as because of him saying, by the way, she's going to say yes, not only did it diffuse the police officer from asking me anything else, he starts walking back towards that little snowman, and he takes that paper and he throws it. So whatever he was jotting down for the doctor, he goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
yes," and I was like, "Oh, that."
Kindness.
I also
was-
love how distinctive this doctor is. He really seems like a different character, a different personality. He's not just a mishmash of other doctors. He's his own thing, which is awesome.
Since I kind of started before Nick, I'll just kind of finish up with my same thing with 8, with the rating of an 8. I really did adore the ropes and the production design to this. It just, again, I'm gonna keep bringing it back up. Oh, you can see that they have money, they have production money to do things, because the goblins looked pretty good and the ship looked amazing, and rope's not cheap, and there was a lot of rope, and bless those scenic artists for going in there and tying stuff and using all the different knots and all that kind of fun. But can I just say that those lamps, those sea urchin lamps that they had hanging all inside, I don't know if you noticed that all the lights inside the goblins' seat, I mean, it's a ship, they were all sea urchins. They were those huge purple urchins, and that's the shell of them, and they had the lights on, and that's why they had this neat little ethereal glow all over the place. And I just thought that made me just really kind of go, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Their flat being in the attic was really neat, and it felt like a nice practical them running back and forth. I understood the floor plan of that flat, that there was, there was 2 bedrooms there, and then if I didn't realize it was a 3rd bedroom because Ruby had her own room, but it was all just long, and that they had the kitchen on the end here, and that them going back and forth. I agree with Kevo that it didn't feel too Christmassy, except from, again, a scenic design standpoint of just, oh, okay, we've got the tinsel here, we've got the garland here. Love how they use, like, yeah, the lighting. For one thing I'm going to steal is, I have a hallway, and I noticed in their hallway they use the hedge kind of lights, the big square ones against the hallway. I thought that was amazing. Brilliant. I'm like, so you're just like, next year, add lighting down hallway. But yeah, there was some things that I just it didn't, the pacing of when we realized, oh, he had to go back in time, that they stole Ruby, that kind of took me out of it a little bit because I was trying to figure it out. The goblins, I was thinking that they were going to be worse, but then they weren't. I actually was okay with it. Even with the King Goblin, I was good with how the King Goblin went out. I was kind of like, whoa, that's
violent,
a little bit violent-ish than I'm used to. With the spoilers, the takes him out, the impalement, I guess, would be the way. So that was a little different, but a good, fun, solid first Doctor episode out. I enjoyed it. I give my solid 8. I know, Dave, you said we need to run a commercial.
Yes, and before I do that, I want to address this comment just so Lee doesn't think we've ignored it.
Okay.
Disney's not taking over anything.
I want to make an alarm for every time someone says Disney's taking over. A Disney alarm.
Exactly.
Disney Plus original.
There's a lot of cool stuff going on with Disney, but this is not one of them.
No, this wasn't. No, I don't see. The one thing Disney's taking over is them going, oh, okay, well, we got distribution rights, so we'll go ahead and write your check now so you could spend it on whatever you need budget-wise. Here you go. Thank you.
But that being said, here's some cool Disney something. It's finally happened. Mickey Mouse is in the public domain, and that means Steamboat Willie is popping up everywhere, from tarot cards to horror movies and, of course, role-playing games. So join me tomorrow on YouTube as I talk to Wannabe Games about their game jam and their own solo RPG based on the now public domain Mickey Mouse. Well, I as you can tell, I recorded that literally right before we had on the air, and I did not cut the last part of the video properly. But yes, I'm Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is not in the public domain, but Steamboat Willie
The
is.
Steamboat Willie version aesthetics.
Yes.
Same thing with Minnie. She's also in it.
Yep.
Only for that. But I mean, we could talk more even about that about the
That's a
mask
whole
party.
other episode of coolness. But yeah, and there's gonna be years of legal shenanigans of them trying to connect modern versions of Mickey to that to try and hold on to things, I think. But one of the things that's coming out is a role-playing game, a solo
That's cool.
RPG from Wannabe Games. And they're also running a game jam. I mentioned this before we went on the air. Video games, tabletop games, all of that over on itch.io. So I'm going to be chatting with them tomorrow on my channel, the therathole.ca. Go subscribe. I don't have that up. I literally just got another email from them here, so I don't have it up yet, but it will be up before the end of the night. But go subscribe to my channel, and you will see it there shortly. And
You're zoomed in again, by the way.
zoomed in again. I stop that. I'm not used to this camera, and I've got it set up differently. But yeah, so it's gonna be fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of the cool stuff that comes out of and all the horrible things that are going to make Walt Disney roll over in his grave. And I'm kind of fine with that too, in a lot of ways. But yeah, that's the commercial that I wanted to run, was me, because darn it, I have the opportunity, and it's tomorrow.
Yes.
So please, everybody, come join me, because last minute things are terrible.
Okay, so because I really want to start talking about that. I'm like, no, Doctor Who show. Don't start talking about public domain stuff. Okay, Mackenzie,
Yeah,
help me. Why did you give this an 8.5? If I remember because I moved it. Yep. Why did you give this an 8.5? What did you love? What did you like? What's saying to you about this episode? Pun intended.
I like the intrigue. Starting off with very first portion where we get somebody that kind of looks like a Jodie character walking with the baby. Now we don't know whether or not that is Jodie, whether that is the 13th Doctor, is that Ruby in the future?
Yeah, I've seen that theory.
Yeah, we don't really know any of that. Both of those theories, I could go with either of those theories being a possibility there. So I like that intrigue right off the bat. I kind of lean towards it being that the Doctor might know who Ruby is from the past because of his reaction initially coming out of the TARDIS with a little bit of a tear. Though, of course, that could have been just a going back in time when he went back in time. Spoilers there, to save Ruby as the baby. It could have been just another moment of that, but I did like that. I felt that really kind of pulled the two characters together right off the bat, because they use the term fondlings. They RTD acknowledged the timeless children, saying that the Doctor was adopted. I loved that too, and how he found that out right off recently. He's saying that, and that really, I felt that pulled. And as he's listening, he's like, oh, I didn't realize of this stuff. She learned all this stuff. Oh, there's something else. There's something, that there's something else going on, whether or not it is the Doctor already knows about Ruby. I seen a cat tail there.
I was just looking for the cat alert one. I thought it was gonna be Mackenzie doing the cat alert. Nope, it's Nick.
Yeah, that time was Nick. Well, and the funny thing is when you were talking, Melanie, I had myself muted because my cat was wow. I'm singing the song of my people. I'm like, oh God, I hope he's not still singing the song. There's a cat alert there for both mine and Nick's
Tom
cat.
was having the same problem.
Yeah,
I brought that message up, but somewhere in here, I've got Tom mentioned that his cat was doing the same.
So it must be a cat thing there. Another thing I really liked about it, and again with the Marine RTD, is calling back to previous Doctors. I know Nick said that he didn't really see any previous isms from other Doctors, but I did see a lot of 9 in Ncuti's Doctor, especially when saying like, well, I'm the Doctor from here. Like, it's just very blunt right off the bat. Okay, leave me alone type of that. So I got,
oh my God, like if 9 was happy. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yes. And then when he was messing with the ropes and saying, I'm learning the language of the ropes, Nine says something very similar to that, but he wasn't referring to ropes.
Because
So
there was a lot of times that Nine was very happy, and this this is like Ncuti getting to take it and just run with it.
Yeah, exactly. So there was similarities there. And then I like the line with Millie when she goes up on the top. Now, me, I am terrified of falling. So I totally could relate to her being like, oh my God, oh my God. So I love the gloves. I don't know if in my case, if it was me in that ladder, I don't know if I would have still been able to keep myself together. I don't think I would have been, but I don't know.
And God bless Brit fashion, especially for women who love wearing sensible shoes with their cute outfits. I just want to just say that real quick because it makes more sense for them to run off and get onto a ladder than
totally there.
Heels.
The other thing that I liked was when she gave that little line to the goblin, was like, did you hiss at me? Now I felt for me that was classic Clara. Other people said they saw Amy, so I kind of see both Amy and Clara in Millie, as in the portion of Clara I liked, not the portion I didn't like, which was later on in 10th run. So, or excuse me, 12th run. So I liked that. The song, I mean, when have we seen people singing before on the show? So that was just something fun, just real on there. A note too that I liked was that, fun fact, is that whole thing with the snowman and falling down, that was originally not in the script. That was added afterward when, in this case, Disney gave a note. And now me as a screenwriter, I will say I can explain how this is. Disney came to RTD and gave him a note, said the doctor's not in the show early enough. That's all they did. RTD could have been like, okay, and just left the way it is.
He loves notes. He loves notes.
Yeah, instead, he added that scene, which I love that. When the doctor came out of the snowman, I loved Ncuti's doctor right from that, even knowing he was in the previous episode for a little bit there. So like for me, that was a great introduction. I felt that if that scene hadn't been there, maybe I wouldn't have liked it as much as I did. So like with that 8.5. So I liked that. I liked when Ruby disappears and you see the mother, just her personality completely change. And you really felt for her. You really like pulled at my strings and you wanted the doctor to succeed. So all of those, I loved that. And then there's a certain character, which I think me and Kevo are referring to the same point. And I definitely want to talk more about that character and some of the theories that are going around, because I had my own theory and I had not heard this particular theory anywhere else. So I'd be curious to know if it's anybody else has the same thought process as me or could see the same thing as me. So yeah, without like just blabbing on and on and on, that's why 8.5.
We're definitely going to be talking about her. Dave, why did you give this a 9.7 of amazement?
I'm still excited. I have not been this excited for new Doctor Who probably ever, honestly. Maybe going into Capaldi, maybe.
Okay.
But this was just, it did, and a few things that everyone else has said, you know, it felt a little bit like 9 in that it was, you come in at a breakneck speed, run, and there's your meeting with the companions. I loved that. I am a musical. I loved the music.
Horrible. Sorry, not you. You're beautiful. You're wonderful.
You're chatting with the chatters.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I love the music. It was an awful big coincidence that Millie's a musician, and an awfully big coincidence that they both were able to just sing this song that the goblins do and knew to do. It was all that was just like, there's a lot of really deep analysis cuts in there where it's like, oh, that wasn't just light and fluffy. That was more of the goblins being goblins and impacting everything.
Okay.
And there was a few other points in there as well where it was just like, it just seemed like something surface level, and then you go, oh, right. So it was fun, it was fast, it was light. I loved almost every second, not every second, but I sure did love most of it. Cosplayers are going to be in heaven. They've already got 4 costumes, well, 3.5. different costumes from him. Melanie's
kilt.
Millie's counting the kilt.
Yeah, he's got the kilt. He's got the one who's
Oh.
the most part in this episode.
Mhm.
At the very end of the episode, when she walks into the TARDIS, he's wearing something different because that
Yep.
made me go, wait, wear something else.
Yeah. The with and without the jacket, like I said, 3.5.
Okay.
Because it's a very that
I think about the
kilt
tiny
is very
pants.
different with the jacket than it is without.
And I like
What-
his shoes. Smart
Also true.
shoes.
What was that, Kevo?
I thought you meant the underwear.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, that too.
Yes, that's another one.
Yes. We are 2 episodes out of 2 where he's not wearing pants for some of this episode. Can we keep that trend going?
How? You will see.
He's wearing his underwear in one. He's wearing his kilt in the next. What
Yep.
else?
Mhm.
What do we got next
Ooh,
time?
maybe he could do a toga.
We got Beatles next time. What can you do? You could get. Yes, I mean, there
Uncle
could be a
Pickers.
John Lennon. It's too late for the John Lennon toga thing, but little early for the peace love
He'll have his bed in. No, wait, no.
knit.
Mm.
But yeah, no, I just I loved how natural it felt. I love that he knows he's a doctor who knows who he is.
Yes.
It's now that opens us up to, was there a bunch of adventures that we don't know about between the giggle and this and to find himself, or is it just a matter of, because of the bigeneration, and he said, I'm okay because you 14 are doing the work and we're Time Lords and we're doing therapy in the wrong order.
Mhm.
And which seems a little bit off. Did that,
But we'll
but
go with it.
timey-wimey, whatever. He is a happy doctor. He has accepted the things that have happened to him. It's not, okay, yes, I was abandoned. Okay, yes, I'm a foundling. I don't know who all of these things that have come up in the Timeless Child, in even the Time War. He's accepted them and not forgotten them, but let them go. He's no longer letting those things pull him down. He's taken a giant life lesson, or lives lesson? Question mark.
Full life's lesson.
And moving himself forward. And I think that's a brilliant lesson for everybody. In that you don't have to forgive, you don't have to forget, but it's good to let go of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really excited to see where that goes and where these two go. And since we're there, I'm really excited. There was rumors that there's going to be a musical episode. I'm wondering if that's a good opportunity to bring in Mr. Flood. There's our segue. Melanie's looking at me confused because she's only so Melanie had the flu. Melanie's only just watched the episode.
Yes.
So you do not know who Mrs. Flood is in real life?
No.
That is Mrs. Dr. Sir Brian May from Queen.
Okay, I know who Brian May is.
Yeah, that's his wife.
Oh, okay.
So I would love
So
to
he's
have
just
him
stoked.
come in as Mr. Flood.
Bring in Mr. Flood.
Because that would just be hilarious to have them play husband and wife on camera. Would just be fun. I mean, he's got the astrophysics behind him. He could easily have been one of Capaldi's students. Remember, Capaldi was a professor at that university for 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that would just be kind of a cool, way to connect in those, all of those things and tie back to some of those previous doctor-ness. You've got your 13 connected in there with Root B, maybe. You've got 12 connected in with somebody, maybe. You've got, right, and you just kind of keep working back. Could be interesting. Dave knows. Dave knows.
It's like you've never seen a TARDIS before.
Yeah, and then Mr. Flood discovers that it isn't his wife.
Now I can imagine Brian May saying, "I'm from bloody Queen, mate."
Yeah, I really could see that, and it would be kind of like they did in Bones with ZZ Top,
Angela's dad.
Angela's dad in ZZ Top.
Love that.
But yeah, so I think that's where we want. That was also a bit of a segue because I think we all wanted to talk about the Mrs. Flood in the room.
Mm-hmm.
The puddle in the room.
Yeah, the puddle in the room.
So
I think Mackenzie wants to explode the most. So Mackenzie, what?
Well, I'm gonna say Kevo's already
The-
cracking his knuckles too. So
one piece of information that I want to put forward first,
Yes.
that all the theories are great, but everyone also needs to remember she did not recognize the blue box for what it was until she saw it dematerialize.
Mhm.
So whatever we're theorizing, I see people being like, it might be River, like that'd be cool, but she would know what the blue box is. And there can be ways to wrap that around, but that does need to, that is in the story. So even if it's a flub, that's one of the only things we know about her. At first, she didn't know what the blue box was, but then once she saw the dematerialization,
Right.
now she knows what a TARDIS is.
Because she was yelling at the duel saying that was him, that he put it there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
that
she
doesn't mean
forgot.
she didn't already know what a TARDIS is. Just that was a not knowing that was a TARDIS.
But I don't see anyone bringing that up, and that's a super important thing. 'Cause we
I've
know
seen it
so
pop
little
up
about her.
I actually had that. That was one thing I listened for when she said,
Awesome.
I haven't seen anything for 50 years, like referring to the box. So I go, 50 years. My wife's sitting beside me. I'm like, who is that? Is that Pertwee or is that the second Doctor? I'm like, so she brings it up. She goes, that would have been Troughton. I go, okay, well, we know it's not, it can't be Joe. We know because Katie Manning is still around and she was in the last episode of The Power of the Doctor. So we know it's not her. We know that it's not Sarah Jane Smith because for obvious reasons. Leaves with, there was one other companion that wasn't really a big companion, but her actress died. Now, is it possible this is a Liz Shaw recast? If you look at the original actress and you picture what would she look like in the future, could she look like this actress who's playing Mrs. Flood? The answer is yes. So it's possible it could be a Liz Shaw recast. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe again, it's a Ruby in the future that just happened to be sitting right there. Or could it be a goblin that's manipulated somehow the future? And now suddenly, well, she didn't know that. Another theory I've seen going around is that it's Missy, which don't think it more likely would be, but it's possible there too. But I'm leaning towards a Liz Shaw recast.
Now, was Liz Shaw, who was Liz Shaw with?
She was with Pertwee, which would have been exactly 50 years ago.
Okay, so as Mike said, it's Pertwee 50 years ago. She has that look.
And there's a picture of older her in the middle there in the blue, in the blue outfit.
Yeah.
Now, my classic Who is not the greatest. I'll flat out say that. So help me out. Also, everyone in the comments. But, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the biggest thing about Pertwee's era was that he didn't have a TARDIS and he was stuck on Earth?
But she was familiar with the police box. And
he had but he wasn't allowed to leave. So yeah, he did have one, but it was mostly parked. So he wasn't allowed to use it.
So she's not used to seeing the box.
So exactly. It's very possible she may have seen it and completely forgot about it.
And that's where I'm kind of going with this here is when she first sees it dematerialize, she drops her bags like, oh my God. And the first thing I thought was like, she's probably freaking out. Oh, this box just disappeared. What if she's freaking out because, oh my God, that was a TARDIS?
Yeah.
So she knows what a TARDIS is. She just didn't know she's used to a TARDIS possibly having a chameleon circuit that works.
Yeah.
There was that period too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Liz knew.
Yeah, Liz knew.
So that's
I don't know that I even have any theories because I was so taken aback by the fourth wall break of it. And again, I feel like he's just being so wild out that maybe she's nothing. Maybe he's just messing with us.
Yeah, and it's very possible. But the fact that
a possibility,
like that 50 thing, it's just like I didn't think that was a coincidence that number just happened to be shown. And then, okay, what was going on? Oh, Liz Shaw. So, and the funny thing is, I haven't seen anybody else mention Liz Shaw on the various social medias. So I found that very interesting that nobody else thought about as a possibility.
Maybe. Okay, so there was one aspect of this episode that made me just go, what the heck? This is a loophole that not loophole. This is a thing that we're not going to address. We're not going to fix. There was just kind of left alone, and that was the crack in the bloody ceiling.
Yeah, the 11th Doctor crack.
The crack along like the whole thing, and the poor woman even kept saying, I can't get a builder out here for Christmas to fix this. We're gonna freeze to death. It's gonna be cold. I'm kind of like, Doctor, can we get up there with a little bit of, I don't know, can you buy Flex Seal in the UK? Starts taping it on there. I don't know. But it was one thing that was like, this never got resolved.
Yeah,
It didn't seal back up when Ruby came back?
No, because when he started running around, that was like the tell to know that the timeline was still that he got the timeline back intact, where the crack was there.
Mm-hmm.
So lava pits close, but cracks in space and time from coincidence don't. Okay, there's no science to it. It's all made up.
Wood doesn't work on wood. Sonic doesn't work on wood, so cracks don't.
If I had a pair of gloves, then I could just kind of squeeze that ceiling.
Yeah. That's what they're for, man.
But yeah, that was like the one thing that even like my husband had pointed out. He's like, wait, you ain't gonna go back there and fix their ceiling? They're gonna freeze. They got a little baby in there. You have to swaddle that baby all over the place. Make sure it stays nice and warm.
Yeah, it rains a lot.
My dumb moment for this episode is I don't know who Davina McCall is. So I thought she was a fictional character.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of North America.
We see the woman with the pram, and I'm like, oh my God, what if that woman is her mother? And like, frankly, Russell T. Davies would do something weird like that, like make this celebrity a fictional character's mother.
Yeah.
But apparently that was me saying, what if Julie Chen is this fictional character's mother? Like, no, she's a person. She's from Big Brother. I know that now.
Yeah, the only reason I know who Davina McCall is because I watched, I think it was a Red Nose Day. It was an older Red Nose Day, and it was one that Tennant had done, and that she was the co-host against him. So that's the only reason I know who the heck. I'm like, oh, she's a celebrity. But even then, who's gonna know that?
I also wouldn't have assumed she was dead if I knew she was a real person. Like when the tree falls, I thought she was dead and I thought it was dark. But no, if I knew she was like a celebrity, I probably just would have laughed. But it was just really dark for me.
I was thinking, how is Davina going to get more work? No, she's been shown dead on a show, and then people are going to be like, okay, that's it. That's her career.
When she said she got run over by a moose, I'm like, wait a minute. That is one of only North America's megafauna. How did you get run over by a moose? Now that is some rotten luck. I'm gonna go into the comments now. Is there anything?
There's been some random discussion on whether it was good or bad, or the usual things. But yeah, no, we're largely caught up.
Okay, cool.
Oh, here we go. There's Mike just popped saying that Davina Bot in Bad World was her voice as well. Oh, I'm assuming. I don't know. Davina Bot.
When the Ninth Doctor they call it that, but we don't ever see a robot. When the Ninth Doctor is in the Big Brother house, we're gonna get you. That's her because that was her job.
Oh.
Yeah, that was her. So.
Yeah,
so
no, it was like Davina Bot. Huh? Yeah, no, the voice. Yes. Yeah, I think because I saw someone. I have some friends in Australia who were like, I guess she's like some this and brings up some random Australian person who I also didn't know. But yeah, then some of the Brits were just like, yeah, no, she's big over here. Everyone knows who she is. This is something we're gonna have interest. It's gonna be interesting. In that because it's now even more so international. Some of those references they're not going to get lost, but they're going to have conversations, which is good.
Yeah.
The conversations are going to come around to, no, you daft twit. They're just a Brit.
Right. And it's not, I hate using this word, but it will give, I hate this whole thing I'm about to say. It's going to give exposure to people that aren't used to, I hate the word exposure. It's like, oh, do this for exposure. Wow. Oh, you do that.
It works. It's the accurate word.
Yeah, but in this vein, it's going to give Davina more exposure, or other little things here. There are other people's, careers to go, oh, that person was on
Another
that.
market.
So at least now you
Smart.
can start having that 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon when someone goes, wait, that person's familiar. Where did I see them from? You can say, oh, that was the person that was on that Doctor Who episode, the first one. You're like, oh, cool.
Yeah. And Lee's wondering who this new the new Doctor Who's aimed at. And I think that's pretty obvious. I know I've said it a few. This is definitely the Gen Z's Doctor Who. This is the new generation of Doctor Who. Anything, a lot of the woke conversations that have happened are just normal conversations. I watched it with several, Gen Z, Gen Alphas. I've got a bunch of teacher friends who've said the same thing, that their students are talking about Doctor Who. It's exciting. It's new. They're so stoked. And it's just, but that side of the conversation doesn't even factor in, because that's just their life. That's,
I think that it's lost on a lot of people. I'm trying to word it nicely, but this is aimed for people to say that this is my doctor. Everybody, that on this panel that you talk to, you always ask the question, who is your doctor? Well, this is targeted to the people who are going to say, in the possibly children, people who first get into Doctor Who, that this is targeting the unknown audience that's going to answer, Ncuti Gatwa, the 15th Doctor, is my doctor. That's who this is targeting. It's going to be those people to say that this is my doctor. And I think that's the demographic that people forget in Doctor Who, that we have that demographic. The who is your doctor? Okay, well, you go into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is for the people who are going to say 15 is my doctor. Yeah.
And honestly, he's become very quickly probably my favorite modern Doctor already. Like, it's just, I love his everything. His attitude, his joy, his portrayal is great. He's the Doctor. He's got very Baker-esque kind of feelings,
Yes.
Any classic Doctor, it's Baker that would look at a bunch of ropes and go, oh, this is a language. Any of the Doctors could get that. But can you see, Peter Davison or Colin Baker? Can you see Colin Baker going and mucking around with ropes? No.
I can see Matt Smith doing it, and I can definitely see 9. Funny enough, I don't see 10 doing that. I don't see 10 sitting still enough to wanting to learn a language. But I see 9 doing that.
Of the
9, definitely. Definitely 9 and 11. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can see 9. I can see 11.
Jodie.
And other than that, Jodie, I honestly don't know.
Jodie, because
she
was very much an inspect and not expect Doctor.
Yeah.
She would inspect things. That's one thing I thought was really great about her Doctor. That was like a nuance where she didn't just jump in and go feet first. I'm gonna go ahead. I mean, granted, she did do that sometimes, but most of the time she would at least pay attention and go, wait, which I think some audience, to the credit and discredit of what reviews would be, for her to be like, oh, well, she's explaining everything again. Well, she's inspecting. She's not expecting everything. I love that. I like and I kind of get that a little with Ncuti when he was going crazy with all the ropes and figuring out, hey, I'm learning the language of rope.
Shut up here. I'm learning the language on the fly, because, who does that?
Yeah, exactly.
I think she would try to wave her Sonic at the rope a bit,
Yeah,
Matt. I think they would both, before they did anything, would start waving their Sonic around.
Exactly. And that's one thing too about her Doctor is, if you really think about it, now I'm not talking about 14 here, though he falls into this category as well. It's that both 13 and 14 are the only modern Doctors who have not lost a companion. And that's probably why, because Jodie's Doctor did not just jump right into things. She more talked out loud of what she was doing before she jumped into them, which I can appreciate that, because I do that too. I'm always talking to myself out loud.
Yeah.
Now, one discussion we have not had just yet, and I'd like to have everybody's opinion on this. What do they think of Ncuti, the 15th Doctor's new sonic screwdriver.
Mhm.
This is the first time we actually got to see it in action.
Yeah, I love that it's got a Rwandan saying written in Gallifreyan on it.
Mm.
You have to go in and find the video about it to feel that yes, Mackenzie also knows. Everybody knows. So Tom knows. I love that. I think it is going to be a very functional one. It does not look like a screwdriver. It looks less like a screwdriver than any of them, with the possible exception of Jodie's, because I really hated hers.
I thought Jody's was just ergonomic because it was a spoon, because the way she could hold it, it would just.
And if it had been metal, I would have
yeah.
agreed with that.
Oh,
If it had been a metal, but it was that weird, she got a crystal on the end, and it matched her TARDIS.
Yes, that's what.
And
And
they
that's
made it
why I
out of a
liked it, 'cause
spoon,
it
not
did
in her
match it.
TARDIS. That's why I kind of didn't like that. It was definitely more of a remote control. I love that it had a little flashlight. I love that it definitely seems to be, he's not putting up force fields with it. He's not putting up screens with it yet.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to do that. If he's going to have that same kind of capability that 14 did, where suddenly he was just like all, Minority Report doing all this stuff, which I'm like, wait, where did we get that technology? I'm not saying I'm not here for it, but when did that happen? That's kind of cool. So I do wonder if Ncuti's going to have that.
It makes sense to see an advancement. I'm watching the War Games right now, where it's very exciting. We're unscrewing a screw from a pistol, and that's all the screwdriver does. To this, which is still, it looks like a tool. You can tell it's a tool, but it's very different from the other Sonics. So I think it works really well.
And for me, I'm on the opposite. I don't like the design, because for me, it feels too much like Star Trek. It's too big. It's one of those, maybe now Ncuti won't use it as much because it is so big and out there and you want to be able to hide it. So maybe in that case, but to me, it just felt like a phaser from Star Trek. Oh, it's just like, and you could do the same thing. That's just me. I didn't like it. Too much Star Trek to me.
Okay. It had more of a tricorder kind of.
Yeah, it's too much of a tricorder. Yeah.
See, when they first announced it and kind of showed, with the photos and stuff, I'm thinking like, oh, he's got a Palm Pilot. That's awesome. So I'm like, and then I went, Melanie, you're old. Stop this. Stop saying things out loud.
The generations this is aimed at do not know what a Palm Pilot is.
I know, right?
It's an old person. Their parents.
So half of me is kind of like, well, it's kind of got that vibe of a cell phone, because we all have our phones, and it's kind of this kind of thing. So at first I'm like, okay, maybe. But then in the episode, when he's standing there, and I'm just gonna keep holding my phone, he puts his arm against the like this, against the TARDIS, and he's talking. The way he was holding it, it didn't feel like him, like how I'd hold a cell phone. It felt like he was holding it like this way, like you would a tool, but I kind of felt like key fob-ish, like how you would go, that kind of thing. So
I like that.
So I kind of felt like it felt like a key fob, that little bit more ergonomic and more, that. But I can see as a key fob, if you're pointing it, which he did a couple times, but he didn't point it like this. He was just more of a kind of. I kind of want to have to go back and see how he's using it in this episode. But I didn't mind it. I didn't. But I do see where Mackenzie, where you're like, it's kind of big and bulky, and at first I had that vibe, but I think it's getting. I'm feeling it a little bit more. I'm already on the path of, no, this is cool. I didn't like the Sonic sunglasses Capaldi had. I mean, some people did dig it. They were like, oh, that sounded cool when he took them off. And he's like, see, I can plug them in. And I just kind of going, no, you can't see. And then I went, no. But
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, that was the only Sonic that didn't really work for me. So anything else is better.
I remember when, and I'm comparing this show to Doctor Who a lot lately, but I remember when, as a franchise, Power Rangers changed over from having unique morpher styles to essentially every single morpher set every season was just a cell phone. I remember being incredibly angry. Now, I was still in high school, so I was a child, so granted. Because it's weird. And I get that. But at a certain point, it starts to feel like Doctor Who is being outpaced by the things that it inspired if it's not evolving itself. I know that we love a lot of classic things in this fandom and that, change is scary. But if so many other science fictions are doing these things creatively and Doctor Who isn't being allowed to do them,
Mhm.
it's really just being outpaced by all other science fiction. And it kind of needs to grow. I really loved your point about comparing it to a fob, because I really thought I'm remembering the 10th Doctor in The End of Time clicking, and it was the key. It had
Yeah.
to be the key because there was no device that he could really. What's he going to do it with the tube? And let's be frank, the tube looks like things, and that joke gets made a lot. And maybe it's just time to move away from this shape that, frankly, never really was that much of a screwdriver to begin with either. It was just
Mhm.
kind of a tube. One of them looked like, and I can never remember what the name of that tool is that the Doctor has, where like it's got like the light on it and stuff. It's the one that has the barber pole. It's that sonic design where it almost looks like a microphone. Like that.
It yeah, the fourth Doctor had that one.
Yeah, like
The
it's
edge
always
had, like,
been
this
kind
little-
of weird. What I really more than anything hope, because I liked the Sonic sunglasses, but I get it, that cannot be the only Sonic. That cannot be the constant one.
Right.
I'd like to start seeing more devices and Sonic accessories, maybe.
Mhm.
They're toyetic, as George Lucas would call it. So like I will buy. I want that compact 15th Doctor Sonic screwdriver. Why wasn't that available for sale for Christmas? I would have bought it. And I'm not buying a home one. I want to buy a real one. So like, it just sort of needs to evolve, and it's going to be scary, but we'll see how this goes. Maybe this one will be destroyed and replaced by the next season. Who knows?
I like your point of it can't stagnate, and really science fiction can't stagnate, because that's like almost like the death of sci-fi. The whole point of science fiction is it keeps growing, and I mean it's all part of science. Is it's right until we prove it wrong, and then we just keep going until we find out another theory and just keep moving, and then you have the fiction aspect to it, and that's the fantasy and the strange new worlds and all that kind of fun stuff. And but at the core, if it becomes stagnant, it's not really fun.
I hate to use this comparison, but it's really kind of the most accurate. Madonna over the past, since the 80s, right?
Madonna.
It's different, very different versions of herself. She keeps reinventing herself. She keeps reinventing her music. And if you look at a lot of artists that do that not just, here's your Rolling Stones, they will always be the Rolling Stones, but there's others that just are constantly evolving, and that's how they keep picking up. And it's not that new generations discover them so much as they never actually leave the public consciousness.
Right.
And that's kind of what Doctor Who has always done, but especially this time, this is very much okay, we're kind of getting off the track. We're kind of just losing ourselves. We're gonna push for this new generation. We need to freshen this up, and so we are.
You're right. You don't have to wait so long that it becomes a reinvention. You can just keep growing and experimenting and trying new things. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. We have another episode. Keep going. Keep growing. But no, I really am looking forward to seeing what he's going to do more with his fob. Although, see, now I'm calling it a fob. I did like in this episode at one point when he had his Sonic and he was looking. He's like, no bad thing about a screwdriver or something like that. He's like, no screws, and then then he screwed off. He went to someplace else, which I just thought was like, oh, that's neat. He's using the metaphor of he has a screwdriver with no screws.
Right.
Okay, now what can I do with this thing? I need to learn the language of rope.
Yeah.
Edward says, I thought the Sonic was getting far-fetched, but then I used an app for checking blood pressure, used an app for directions, weather, email, etc. The Sonic rocks. That's a mighty fine point.
Yep.
If our technology is becoming more advanced than the sonic screwdriver, that's embarrassing for Doctor Who.
It is. Yeah.
That is very poignant. If the technology that's in my little phone is outpacing this thousands of year old Time Lord with Time Lord technology, yeah, he's got to be able to outpace. And there's the 14th Doctor right there with Tennant going.
Yep, and that's exactly what I said. It's like, where did this technology come from? The same place this technology came from.
Where has it been?
Years later.
Yeah, the Doctor has to have tech that's far outpacing what we currently have.
What was your cell phone like 60 years ago?
I know.
5, you know?
So we have to relate to the tech. We understand wearable tech, for example, sun cameras and sunglasses, that kind of thing. Unless we have someone explaining the tech to us all the time. But also we need it to be a leap. We need to see something beyond what we have. So it's a challenge for the storytellers.
And I think that's where when you're blending it with old and new, like I really adore that the goblins didn't have a fancy outer space. They had it like this old, just ratty, piratey kind of ship. And I can't even call it piratey, but they dressed kind of piratey, except for the one that had a Santa hat. One had a Santa hat, which I thought was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's adorable. What was the other? Okay, here we go. Now we're going to really show my age. One thing that I really got a lot of during the Goblin dance. Did anybody? It's so sad. Just go with it, Melanie. Lean right on in. Here we go. I got the whiz from that. The whole Goblin thing that they're running him through. The baby's going to go get eaten. I really remember the whiz and being scared of that part of the movie. But anyway, because of just there was the music.
The Wiz is very scary. Oh my god.
Scared me like crazy. And then when they all were able to come out and become people again. Anyway.
And suddenly I feel young again. Thank you, Dan.
I was very surprised. Good.
I was saying memories from the 1900s.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Evo, please.
I was very surprised to learn that Millie and Ncuti just sort of were thrust on stage for that number. So I think a lot of that was even somewhat unchoreographed. Good for them. What an amazing trial by fire, and what an amazing illustration of immediately what great chemistry they have with each other. But yeah,
so that scene really wasn't rehearsed-ish?
That is what they claim in a behind-the-scenes video. They were introduced to the song at the read-through and got there for filming and were expecting people to talk to them, and nope, they were like, here you go. You're singing this live. We're not pre-recording it.
Wow.
Which, you know what, that kind of lends to, one, their ability, but two, for the atmosphere, what's going on. It's like, look, we're gonna make this organic, and you're gonna just start singing, and you're gonna keep going along. And yes, there's goblins all around, and they're have a grand old time. And there's the one that's gonna eat the baby. So no,
we're gonna make it organic, and that means chaotic as hell.
Yeah. This is organic. This means where there was no plan. There's no plan, and stuff went wrong. Plan B. There is no plan B. Okay, organic it is. Okay, sorry. I have ease on down the road. Yay! It was in my head. I could hear them singing, but I couldn't hear the words. Sorry. I accidentally clicked on that.
Yeah, you're used to being the producer, so I every now and then we do. I mean, I do the same thing with Christian. We all try to push the same buttons. Yeah, Ncuti says he's an actor, not a singer. Baloney.
He is wrong. He is
baloney.
Brilliant.
He is mistaken.
Yeah.
He's definitely a dancer.
Mistaken. Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm. So, any other things that you want to kind of chit chat about, or at other points that open floor? Now we're just kind of talking good stuff about the episode that maybe we haven't really hit on.
I just wanted to say another part that I loved was Ruby's entrance into the TARDIS. Her reaction to the TARDIS. She just displayed so many emotions. It really touched me. There was joy. There was little anxiety. There was, she was awe-inspired, and just you really felt something that you don't always get when a new person steps into the TARDIS. And it would be amazing, and it should be breathtaking. And she really sold it.
Mm-hmm.
That bodes well.
I can't wait to see if the jukebox gets used.
I have to assume.
I hope so.
Yeah, we're going to get more singing because they're going to be jamming out to that jukebox.
Whether you like it or not.
Oh, and we're seeing the Beatles next. Who wants to bet
say.
they start the next episode with listening to the Beatles on that jukebox? Calling it now.
Well, they have the money to actually pay for the songs, so but I wonder if they'll use the new one. I wonder what they're going to do. No, I literally have zero clue what they're going to do with the Beatles. I don't even know what era they're finding them in.
Early.
And that's the Beatles were only around for what, 5 years? When they have all these different eras and all this other, the Beatles were not around for long, which I think is just you look at artists like Madonna. It's that you look at all her different eras, and I could tell you when she was doing her early 2000s music with the blinged out cowboy hat, that kind of thing, or her Vogue time, or her there's so many different things of Madonna, and here you could say almost the same thing about the Beatles. The Beatles,
just 8 years.
Yeah. So I wonder. So I guess if it's going to be early, maybe like them before they hit.
My thing's early 64.
Okay.
It was definitely still suits because we saw them in suits, so it's still the mop top and suits era at the very least.
And I feel like what you're pointing to even underlines the idea that so much about how we view and now retroactively view pop culture and the way that time passes is so different than it was in the 60s, in the 90s, in the early 2000s. So like, if things seem like they are different, it's because they are. We constantly have to remind our father that he's in his late 60s, almost 70s, and that we are almost 40. He thinks me and my husband are still like 25 sometimes. And we're like, dude, we went to bed at like 10 minutes after midnight on New Year's Eve. Time has passed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's New Year's Eve. Am I going to make it to midnight? I don't know.
My boys didn't. They barely did. They got a second win for the toast at midnight, and then we finished our episode of Modern Family, and they went right to bed.
Okay.
I think. No, you know what? That was similar to mine, where I honestly didn't think I was going to stay up past.
You were in a coma.
Yeah, yours doesn't count. Yeah.
You're a champion.
I got a bit of a wind. I mean, I was watching What If, so that kind of felt it.
I
Sorry.
The company I do weddings with had a last minute decided we were going to have a New Year's party, so we had it with a couple of Ukrainian families, and I made parishki, and apparently I did a good job. Everyone but the vegetarian loved them because I had a meat filling for them, but. Think pierogi, but a bun, not a dumpling.
Ooh.
And yeah, I found a sourdough recipe, which is not the usual way to make those. And yeah, I did a beef filling. If I'd known there was a vegetarian that was going to be there, I would have made a potato based one as well. But no, did not know.
Knowing you were as apologetic as possible, and then you apologized some more just in case.
Yes.
And then apologized again a third time. And you just
I'm sorry that I've apologized so many times, but
yeah. And as you're leaving, you're like, all right, everyone have a happy new year. Also, I'm sorry again.
Pretty much. But no, it was an interesting New Year for sure.
I'm enjoying that.
Sleep no more.
Doing a lot of sleep jokes in the chat.
There's a lot of sleep jokes. I like this. I'm 66 and haven't been staying up till 2 a.m. yet, getting up to go to work at 6 a.m. for decades.
Dan's a party animal.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. My mom's like that. The mom's always been a night owl. She's usually up till like 2 or 3, and then she gets up around 11-ish, 1. You know, she's not up till like the afternoon. And then she always gets mad at me when I call her on the weekend, and she's just like, "Did you already eat?" I'm like, "Breakfast? Yes, I already had that." I'm like, "No, just because you woke up, I went to bed at a normal-ish time."
I definitely am like my mother. My mother, she's in her late 70s and she still stays up all night sometimes to do things. And I definitely got that same power that she does when it comes to not being able to sleep. Oh, good Lord.
Do you think, because that's actually a decent little ish point, do you think about sleeping and like, okay, you know, we're all hand in hand and all that, but it made me wonder, do you think we're going to see more rooms in the TARDIS? Are we going to see, like, I'm not saying that we're going to see a bedroom, but are we going to see more rooms?
If we do not see what's behind a bunch of those portals, I'm going to riot.
I saw a behind the scenes of David Tennant talking to the set designer and being like, "So what's behind these doors?" And the guy kind of laughing at him. Like, "Do you know how expensive this room was? There's nothing behind these doors right now.
Yeah.
This was a really expensive set.
Swimming
Unit
pool.
was a really expensive set." I hope at least one opens, or like, here's what you do: build like somewhere else one portal and use that as the opener, and then you just shoot the door opening from up close and be like, "That's all of the doors." Like Star Trek it.
Yes.
But this guy's got to be so
It
tired.
could be anything through one of those portals. It could be a boot cupboard. We don't know.
Exactly. And here again, it's going back to that thing about how technology is gone past Doctor Who, and Doctor Who has been left behind. So yeah, this is an opportunity. The 5th Doctor, my doctor, here we go, talk about your doctor. My doctor is like one of the only doctors where you actually got to see multiple rooms of the TARDIS. So, and that was back in the 80s, folks. If you can't do what's done in the 80s, I mean, and we have such a budget now, we've got a big problem. Houston, we have a problem.
If we don't have Ncuti and Millie as those two specifically, if we don't have them at the pool, we will never get them in the swimming pool. No doctor will be in a swimming pool if Ncuti isn't.
It's been almost 11 years since Journey to the Center of the TARDIS as well. So I think that is the last time we have really seen any other rooms in the TARDIS.
Yeah. I mean, I would.
There has to be a tool shed in the
Star Trek has holodecks. Can we have, you know, anything? I mean, Star Trek has a holodeck. Troy and Abed had their imaginary. I can't remember the name of the room. It was basically a holodeck. Imaginarium? No.
Magitorium? Imagitorium? Something Torium.
Something Torium.
Jonah would know. Dreamatorium. Yes.
Huh?
Hello.
Dreamatorium.
Dreamatorium. That sounds cool.
No. But it would be nice to see if the TARDIS had more rooms, and like if we had a room that was like in Gallifreyan inspired, or something that was more. I mean, I don't need to see, you know, the inner workings of the actual TARDIS's. I don't know, like the mechanics room or machine room, or where the bell. Show me where all the clacks and bells are kept. You know, give me the bell room.
I'd love to see that
instead of the cloister room. Yeah,
exactly. So it's just you know, that'd be kind of fun.
The TARDIS is morphed to fit the character of 14 and 15. It'd be interesting to see the TARDIS reflect Ncuti's character. You know, what rooms would fit him?
Can it be a club?
Bring a secondary control room.
Floor. Yeah.
I know we're going to see a lot of stuff with the lights. Every single individual light can change color individually. And so, like, one of the things Russell mentioned is, like, it can spell stuff by doing that. So, like, by him saying that, I'm like, oh, so you mean it's going to spell something at some point?
It's going to talk.
Maybe.
Sexty's going to talk.
Oh, I'd love that. Like emojis and memes and just like, yes. Like I want it to talk like Baby Grogu talked with the yes, no, yes, no.
yes. I love
We're going to go here. Stop sign.
Good. No. It'd be very like, because the inside of it reminds me of the outside of Spaceship Earth at Epcot, and how it has all the different lights around it, and that it can change, and it could do all that kind of. I mean, it's not like the Sphere in Vegas where they're so close together and you can really almost get like a TV screen kind of feel to it. But now, Kevo, you made me like, oh, it can spell things. I want to see it spell things. But I like the idea of it saying, no, just no. Don't you talk back to me. Stop.
Would you like some tea? Would you like a cup of coffee? No.
Took out the coffee maker.
You get it.
Oh, goodness.
Please give her a voice. Give her power.
Would you like some chicky nuggies?
Yes. Actually.
So we're almost like wrapping up past the after party, all that kind of fun stuff. So I don't know if there's anything else we want to chit chat about or wrap up early, or do we want to just go off the rails and start talking about other things? You want to talk about Steamboat Willie?
We'll plan. Let's plan an off the rails.
Okay.
In the next little bit, because they're just fun.
Okay,
and we
good,
don't have anything particular planned.
To say I miss Richard Franklin. He passed away Christmas Day.
Yes.
He's a sweet guy.
Yeah. And where's it? Ding ding. There we go. Yeah, there's Mark pointing out that he died on Christmas Day. Real life, he did his national service was a green jacket and Queen's Rifles. So it was not just military on screen. And that's Captain Yates from third Doctor era.
Yeah. He really made that family, helped to create that family during the Third Doctor's period. I love how his character had an arc, that he wasn't just a soldier, that he was put through the ringer and we cared about him. And then, of course, Richard Franklin, he's been a part of Who ever since. And his play, The Great Teabag Mystery, is the only unit play I can think of. Maybe Mark Robinson knows about other unit plays, but yeah, he is missed.
Mm. It's and we're in a new year, so we're gonna get less of those. The beginning of the pile of people that we're going to lose, as opposed to the crushing weight of all the people that we lost last year.
Yes,
time of year.
God bless.
Yes.
So
and
with that,
and on that note, is there an upper note we can go out on?
Let's find a better note. Let's find a better note here. Mackenzie, where can we find you? What are you doing in the near future?
Well, you can find me on MackenzieFloor.com. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/MackenzieFloor. This week we are going to be playing Liza P, as well as Lethal Company and some Kina Bridge of Spirits.
Ooh, excellent. And Kevo, you've had a bazillion and a half things going on last month. What do you got going on this month?
Mm-hmm. Yes, this month, because we already have some of it planned. One of the things that we've been covering on our show is the new MonsterVerse series, Monarch, because we got really into those movies. They're silly and dumb, but they're super fun. Monarch has been a really engaging show, so we have been folding it into our coverage, and we're going to do a big up thing for the finale. We probably have what I call the Maya Lopez show dropping next week, because I named our TV Echo, and anytime I say that, she activates. I can't say it in conversation, nothing. So new Marvel show, right? So they all need names though. New Marvel show dropping, new Drag Race dropping, Monarch, Avatar the live action shows coming up in February, Doctor Who coming back in May for 8 episodes, and it's going to overlap with Pride Month, so that's going to be interesting. So it's going to be a really interesting 2024 already.
There we go. Nick, anything? You're still moving. You have nothing going on. You've just moved.
Oh my goodness, I got boxes everywhere. Cosmic Mask magazine is taking a wee break, so I am writing for GenerationStarWars.com. It's a really cool blog, and you can read more about my thoughts on the Christmas special and other Doctor Who specials and all kinds of fun stuff.
Fabulous, and of course, Melanie, you're now back to the land of the living.
I'm back to the land of the living. I'm trying to get caught up with like my normal work. I'm trying to catch up back catch back up with my Etsy shop. See, look, people, you're gonna get your stuff soon.
Hard problem to have.
I know, right? And in 1 month, I will be at, and other people who will be repping the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS will be at MegaCon. So MegaCon Orlando is coming up February 1st through the 4th. I've got my booth already. It is number 1125. Bigger than ever, because it always keeps getting bigger, bigger. So get ready for the 1 month where I'm going to go nuts. I'm probably going to be live streaming, so keep an eye on Pieces of Melee as I paint and go crazy and do all those other fun things. Kind of living a little bit of life of everybody else here, where we're just like spreading ourselves thin because that's what we love to do.
Yep. And I believe that Traveling TARDIS will find the Dalek Builders, and you'll probably find us. We should be close to that, if not paired up with them again this year. I don't know, but I will not. Yeah, Tom and I, unfortunately, will not be there. Tom will be in Orlando just before it, because that's what timing does. And I'll be in Pensacon.
Love Pensacon. All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be a ton of fun. I'm gonna be doing some panels with Earth Station Who, and some fun stuff there. So I'm looking forward to Pensacon. That's the next time you'll see me down in your part of the universe. Other than that, like I said earlier, please pop over to my YouTube channel for us to give me a subscribe. The therathole.ca, as I will have the creators of a Mickey Mouse solo RPG on tomorrow at about 6 o'clock Mountain, which is 8 o'clock Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
So you can,
I think.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yep. So you can tune in to me there and find out more about that and the game jam that they're hosting as well on itch.io, which is just a really, really cool idea, so that everybody's going to get a chance to build those, Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie games. And just because it is actually on topic, on New Year's Eve, I did drop my Doctor Who 60 Years of Adventure review up on the therathole.ca, so you can check that out as well. That's where you find all of us. Any other closing thoughts?
Happy New Year! Make it a happy,
Happy
safe as possible, as healthy as possible, and
please healthy.
Please healthy, and if you have resolutions, try to stick to them. But if you can, don't worry, don't sweat it. If you make missteps here and there, don't give yourself a panic attack because you can't cross everything off the list. Just do your best, and that's all you need.
My New Year's resolution is to not make any New Year's resolutions. And with that self-defeating resolution having been made and failed, I can now move on.
Yeah.
Cavo, can you remind me what you have coming up next?
Sorry?
Cavo, can you remind me?
In the immediate, this weekend is the big premiere for RuPaul's Drag Race Season 16. So if that's not your deal, it wasn't my deal. And now I kind of enjoy it the way I think other people enjoy sports. These performers are turned out. It is insane. If you don't believe me, look up Anitra versus Marsha. Trust me. Amazing performance. But after that, it'll be the next Marvel show that's dropping next week, and then Monarch shortly after that.
There we go. So yes, thank you guys, everybody, for joining us, because Christian likes this thing. Thank you very much for watching us today. Make sure you like our video and our various assortments of sites. Comment everywhere, because the algorithm likes the food. Share us out wherever you can, because, your friends want to know the same thing. And, of course, subscribe to wherever we are. In the meantime and in between time, that's it. So, Tony, take us out.